Welcome back to Big Content, hosted by Mr. Jack Settlement of Snapback Sports and myself, Nick Ercolano, BDGE, represent the Big Edit. We've decided the Big Edit is the name of our crazy editing crew that's just chopping up TikTok clips for us. And we talked last episode that, we made some predictions, like maybe a couple people rip off a couple clips. They've gone bananas. They are ripping. I think it's been a week since they started doing it. Basically, if you're new here, we're trying to get the show out a little bit more, and we're saying like, hey, if anyone wants to help us edit, take clips from the show and then just like shoot them out all over like random TikTok accounts, the Mr. Beast, the Andrew Tate method. Let's let it rip. And we've had, I want to say 2, maybe 3 accounts that have probably put out like 30 clips each. Yeah. It's been wild.
It's been amazing. We've had maybe 3 or 4 that I would say viral is all kind of context based, but one hit 60,000, one hit 50,000, a couple hit, 10,000 plus. That's amazing. And some of them, there's a couple accounts that are like genuinely very, very good. Like we joked about, it's not a competition. Maybe someone will get hired. Like if I need an editor, and it kind of shows maybe it isn't that hard. Like it just, you watch the podcast, you play around a little bit. Now there's some people whose stuff isn't that good. You told me to talk into the mic. You're turning me down already?
You're good. You're actually muted, so don't worry about it.
But yeah, it's been impressive. But what I want to talk about today is, okay, so we started this. We got 1.5 subscribers on YouTube. The shorts have done a little bit. And, we're getting some good engagement. But these TikTok clips are going viral, right? So how do we, without control, because it's others who are doing this, not under our kind of domain, how do we circle this and straighten it out all back to the show?
Well, I think it's such a long game for these types of clips, but I think one of the things that we need to do with these editors is give them direction for what to do once they post the clips, and that's probably tagging us in it. And most of them have done a good job where they literally post a clip and then the first comment is them dropping our names into it. So if people see the clip and they're like, I don't know who these guys are, but I like what they just said, where do I find out more? We have to make sure that they know in the comments they'll see us or we're tagged or whatever. I think for the most part, that's what we can do. The most powerful thing we can do. We could also create a quick template at the end of each clip. Like we can create something that's vertical, that's maybe 3 seconds or something that says like, hey, this is from the Big Content Podcast. If you want more, follow this, or just go subscribe or whatever. You see how I wore a black shirt, so the pit stains didn't fucking all out this time. I think we can create something that's like 3 to 5 seconds that says that, where they go afterwards and have each editor like put it out to the 5 people that are still making clips. Like, hey, make sure you put this at the end of each clip. We just need direction for people.
Yeah, I think it's a really good social experiment, which was the initial intent of this. Now that it's kind of been successful, it's like, okay, how do we actually not monetize, but how do we make it successful for what we're trying to accomplish? And I think some of the other people, Andrew Tate, the Paul podcast, any Mr. Beast clip that goes viral, it's very easy to find them. But you don't think about, okay, how do I go find that podcast specifically maybe? So, yeah, that's a good idea. It's also a managing of, how much do I want people to just be autonomous doing this versus like, all right, now we're actually getting and working with them closer. But it's been a success, I would say, so far.
I would say, yeah, the fact that we've gotten one clip that has like 1,000 views that were outside of us manually doing that work is like insanity. But I also think it like speaks to the type of volume that someone like Andrew Tate does. In order for him, he might have one person chop up a clip that does 100,000 views. There might be like one person in that group of people that converts to be a Hustlers University student. Right. You know what I mean? So for us, I think it's just about hammering volume and hoping that eventually it like trickles down to something. And for us, like all we want is to convert people into long-term listeners, right? Listen to the podcast or become a YouTube subscriber. So I think for us, it's just about, again, continuing to like hammer volume and hopefully like they trickle down to it. Because, we've talked about this before, but the conversion rate of getting people to do things is just, it drips off so dramatically once you get them to have to take the next step in things. So, I mean, TikTok has also made it so easy for you to just be like, oh, I like this. Like, also, I don't feel like doing anything. Yeah. I know it'll pop up on my For You page, like, next week.
Which is why the consistent churn of content every single week is positive. And the thing we worry about is, okay, we start with 30, volume's great. Then 5 people are doing well. Then it's going to go down to 2, but you need that. So we might do the thing and get more people into the program or whatever it might be. But I got an opportunity. I've been talking with the video editor and we wanted to discuss this. He said he could watch one episode a week, so the hour or so that we do. He would do it for $375 an episode, 10 grand. He would kind of make it a little cheaper over 6 months, 5 pieces of content per episode. Now, we would own that content. We could post it to Shorts directly. We could create our own TikTok out of it. Like, where does your head go when you hear something like that?
Okay, so he would be offering to watch big content, chop up 5 vertical clips for it.
Yep.
My head goes to the fact that I don't think we need that right now. Like, I do that work already myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, on Mondays, I have a live stream where I recap every NFL game for about an hour. I go game by game, do the biggest takeaways. Noon hits, we'll film some TikTok shit out there. And then from 1 p.m. to, I don't think I left the office till like 8 p.m. Monday night, I watched all the big content. I chopped up, I think, 6 or 7 clips that are over a minute, and then also went back, made sure that they were under a minute too. So basically like 13 clips or whatever. Yeah. I'm willing to put that work in to do that right now. So I don't think I think when you're starting something, you have a choice what you want to invest.
Well, I think it's actually not a choice. We're in a very
choice.
No, I know what you're gonna say is like you can invest your time or your money, right? But
damn,
we've both been at this for a little while. But I actually don't think, for what's helpful to the audience, I don't think it is a choice because most people can't spend 10 grand over 6 months to get clips done for them. They have to do it.
That's themselves. What I mean. Like the money option doesn't really come into play until you're like a very established creator, which is why it's like the time is really the only. And for us, like we do have the option of saying, okay, let's put some spend behind it. Yeah. But I don't know how you're looking at it, but I'm looking at this as a different. A completely different vessel than BDG or Snapback Sports, where it's like I don't, Tony is editing the long form videos, but that's like the only thing I want them working on for that, right? That's a couple hours out of the day, but I would not be like, use company time to start chopping up 100%. Clips for me. Use like the 7 hours of your fucking Tuesday.
I think it all will circle back and pay off for the company, obviously.
Yeah, that's a long-term vision for it. Yeah, so
but in the meantime, yes, it does feel like this is our own personal thing.
So I'm looking at this as like as if it's the start of something, as if anyone else was normally starting something. Like if you just started a podcast yesterday, but you were not running your own business, like you don't have fucking 10 grand to just put into an editor. So that's where my mind goes. Like I don't want to take shortcuts because we're trying to teach people how also not to take shortcuts when you do it. So I don't want to just be like, okay, we started, I'm gonna throw 20 grand at it.
That's why I think the big edit kind of is a shortcut to a degree, but it's a good example of the different kind of things you can do. And we have built the platform, so there's also, it would be kind of stupid not to use it to a degree. So it's just, I wanted to talk through that, and I agree, not right now is kind of what it feels like, because we'll invest our own time and energy.
I will say though, in terms of the pricing, so $375 an ep, 5 pieces of content. That's a good price, I think.
I think so too.
$10K for 6 months.
And his work is quality too. Like it would be of the same quality that has been going viral.
Yeah. So you think of $375 an ep, that if you almost break that down like per hour, right? So he's going to watch big content, which is
1 hour,
an hour of it. He's going to decipher the clips and then edit each individual clip, export them and whatever. That all in all, if he's doing 5 clips, it's probably, in maybe an hour a clip or something like that. So we're thinking, probably maybe a total of 10 hours for the week, right? And that's like what, $37 to $40 an hour doing this. And that's, you're not going to get a lot of people that are going to do high quality work in this field for you consistently. So I feel like 40 an hour might be a little bit high, and people might be like working for $25 an hour and be like, I'll do that. It's like, we're telling you there's an opportunity to fucking do it.
Literally go do it. Join the big edit. But yeah, all right.
Yeah, I think it's good. I just think it's not the right time for us. But that guy will land on someone that is a content creator that's a little bit more established, or at least what they're doing, the project that they're looking for is a little bit more established, where they have time and money to invest into it. I also think like if you are this guy, basically what you'd want to, this isn't one of the guys who's been doing clips for us.
No.
Yeah, so what he would do, his best way of doing this would almost be like, okay, these kids that are, we'll put these kids on some game right now, the ones who have been chopping up clips for us already. Yeah. Basically, if they put themselves into a position, what you said last week was like become irreplaceable, where like what they're doing is giving us a lot of leverage to the point where if they were to say 6 months down the road, I'm not doing this anymore, here's my proposal to you, $375 an episode. Boom, we'd kind of be in a spot where we're like, fuck, like I loved what you were doing. You already know what to do.
It once again, it wouldn't be fuck. It would be like, yeah, no, you
Right.
proved yourself,
Exactly.
and we need this, and let's do it.
So this guy came out with like a cold offer, but his best bet would have been to take the same path as long as he's passionate about what we're actually doing, like the same path that the Big Edit was taking, where it's like, I'm going to work for free for a little bit to show you what I want, and then I'm going to fucking pull the rug on you and be like, this is how valuable I was to you.
That is the way to do it. And I think it's exciting because if we're talking about, yes, this is something we would spend 10 grand or 20 grand a year on, you can find 4 podcasts and 80 grand a year. You're making social clips. Like,
I gave
very reasonable.
One of our editors, Scott, who used to do edits for us, basically me, Animal, and Snacks did a weekly podcast called Fade the Public. Came out once a week. It was like an hour-long show. It was like a decently intense edit where the editor would probably take 8 to 10 hours doing it. And I paid Scott, I think, $7,500 for a year. I paid him 2 or 3 different years, I think, for it. I don't remember the exact prices, but it was somewhere between like $7,500 and $10K, I want to say, just to do that one single edit each week for the year.
Yeah.
You know, because that's, you know, it's intense work. And if you can find someone who's high quality that can stick around and do it for the long term, I think it's absolutely an investment worth making if you're a content creator.
And one of the Q&A questions later will be kind of along this lines of, I'm not going to be a content creator, but how could I support? How could I make a living? I believe in the creator
That's
economy.
a great fucking question. I'm excited to jump into that. Before we jump into that, though, Jack, you're going to pitch me on a new business idea.
So this is our version of Shark Tank for creators. So I've been thinking about this a lot.
The big tank.
The big tank. Everything is a
Just
dedication
big before it,
to Big and Randy Johnson. So I've been thinking about this. I might have touched on this about receiving some funding and testing some ideas in the creator economy or like seed money for creators. So what I thought about was, could a creator brand create a basketball shoe? And so my mind started going, right, of like, what makes Nike successful? What makes, you know, Puma or Adidas or New Balance, right? Nike, to me, when I think Nike, I really do think it's like the tech behind it. Like, they have developed these incredible shoes. When I think of like Puma or I think of New Balance, like they've got Kawhi Leonard promoting them, or they got like I forget what brand it was. Maybe it was New Balance. But outside of Kawhi, like, the athletes are like C-level athletes, and they have no social following. They don't move shoes. Like, they don't need a signature shoe. So, like, could a creator move shoes?
Yes.
Right?
Of course. Think about, I can name 2 off the top of my head over the last like year or 2.
Yeah.
Gary Vee did the K-Swiss collab. Those things sold out in a second. Who is New Balance's like newest signee? Jack Harlow.
Right.
You know how many numbers he fucking pushes with? Like, I'm thinking about getting New Balance because this motherfucker's rocking them.
All right. So the idea is a creator-focused shoe brand. I focus on basketball because that's just where my head goes as a starting point of, like, we've seen it before with signature shoes. So you could do it one of 2 ways. Like, the first point, though, is all the creators get equity in it. And so you take money because you're going to need a lot of money up front. So you need a venture capital firm or a bank or whatever. So, you know, equity would be allocated there. Or maybe the creators invest a lot, but you need serious money to start something, you know, in apparel. But then you start giving, you know, you start chopping off percentages to each creator. And each creator could get their own signature shoe. They push it to their audience. But it's all under one umbrella. Because what I've realized with Snapback Kitchen is it's great. We have our audience, but it's just us. And it's same thing with you guys and, you know, BDG, your NFT stuff. It's like only you pushing it. But if we created an umbrella brand that everyone had a piece in, and you could still like market your own signature thing, I think there's so much potential to that.
That's a good idea. It's almost like if you went to like footlocker.com, you're just browsing shoes, and this one's just like the Nike 4, the Nike 6, the Nike 7, whatever.
Same
You
thing.
go to snapbackshoes.com, and it's like, this is the Jack Harlow shoe, this is the Jack shoe, this is the whatever shoe. It's a really
I got more. I got more notes. So,
Go.
so one, I really like what Mr. Beast did with Feastables and hired like the Kind team.
Yes.
Like, I think
That's what
genius.
you would need to do, because you
Yes.
can't go half on. You would need like a real shoe,
No,
a really
you're all
good
in.
shoe designer,
Yes.
someone who has the networking within the shoe space, the infrastructure, the, you know, how to push the actual shoes out.
Yeah. So then next, the beauty of doing it with creators is, one, you could create a leaderboard. So like whose shoe
Sold.
is so it goes two ways. One,
Gamifying things. We need to. That's a whole nother.
we're gonna talk about that. But one, it could be because developing a different shoe for each creator would be tough. So you could make like a base shoe, like a low top shoe and a high top shoe. And the signature could be like specific colorways or designs, right? But the top creator after a year could get their own signature shoe. So you've got proof of concept because they outsold everyone else. And then boom, you've got like a second one. This point right here, I actually think was my smartest thought. The reason this could work better is because the LeBron or the Giannis shoe or, Jokic, those are 7-footers. The everyday basketball player is more similar of a build to me or to other creators. Like the LeBron.
Wait, you only want to sell like basketball shoes though?
That's just like where my head starts.
Okay.
But then it evolves into lifestyle and all this stuff. But I think that the beauty of creators, and you say, why is Mr. Beast so relatable? Is because he looks like us and he talks like us. I don't need a basketball shoe that LeBron James is wearing in the game. I'm not 6'10" and 265 pounds and dunking. So I think that is like an underrated element to it.
I think it's a crazy idea that for sure could work. I love the idea of gamifying it and having them compete against each other because it almost like one of the toughest things about working with one of the toughest things as a creator about pushing another company's product is like, what incentive do you really have for that product?
It's clearly an ad.
Outside of money.
Yeah.
Outside of them being like, we're going to pay you for this. But when you take the validation and turn it externally, and these creators are like, I got a big audience, I'm gonna look like a fucking loser if my shoes don't push.
Right, that too.
That gives them this outside external, and you give them equity in it.
That's the difference. Is like, that's another thing. Why am I pushing these Puma shoes when I should be pushing my own shoes, to a degree?
I think that's a great idea. I think the risk involved is like, if the designs aren't well done from the start, if things aren't, I think there's a chance that it comes off kind of corny.
Yeah,
I think like immediately corny if like the first couple drops aren't like kind of fire.
100% has to be cool. Can't just be like, we're pushing this product on you. It has to be something you would wear. So then on top of that, the beauty of content creators and having equity in the brand is then it gets fun. Then you can have 5v5 influencer creator runs. Then you can build out a gym in New York City and do pickup runs, and everyone has to wear the shoe to play in the game. Like because of content, it becomes fun and cool, and it becomes the shoe to wear.
I almost feel like your head goes to basketball for it, and obviously you would probably think about expanding it, but I almost feel like the lifestyle version of it is a better start because then you can have a way more varied number of creators. Like how many creators are you going to get that are like that love fucking basketball? Not that many.
More. Well, that is the thing of like, what is the market, right? You're opening up, but then you're opening up.
Because like if you came to me and you were like, yo, let's create a shoe for you, I'd be like, cool. And you were like, let's create a basketball shoe for you. I'd be like, I'm out.
But that's the thing about basketball shoes. There are basketball shoes that aren't meant to be worn in the games, right? Jordan. I think you lifestyle.
Going the creator, the idea of getting the creators behind it, right? We talk about this so much. It's like once you have the audience or the leverage, you can kind of sell anything that you want. I made a TikTok about this the other day where it's like people were like, you got to look at Andrew Tate and like what he was promoting. It's like I don't care what he was promoting. You look at like Gary Vee promoted K-Swiss and he's built his wine platform up to a media company. Look at Barcelona. They were just a sports company. Now they sell literally like men's shampoo products. They sell their own fucking alcoholic beverages. And Jake Paul went from Vine to boxing to energy drinks. And it's like, this is the same thing. So it's like limiting them to basketball shoes, I think would be problematic from the start, but they can make so many cool lifestyle shoes that I feel like that would be the big, like you become a lifestyle shoe brand and not many shoes are actually
Who is a lifestyle shoe brand though? I mean, that might be a good answer as to like why there needs to be one. Yeah. But that's part of it.
I'm not like really, I don't know the shoe market that well, but like when I think of Nike, I think of like, I'm not like, oh, I'm going out, I'm going out for like even like a walk. Like I'm going to put I guess they have a wide variety of shoes. I could put my Air Force Ones on and stuff, but I think of them as more of a sports brand.
Air Force Ones, Jordans, Dior collab, Kith collab, like they all get into that space.
Yeah, I don't feel as though Nike is like a lifestyle shoe.
No.
For me,
no,
like
you
someone living in New York City. Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, I think some brands like I've gotten really deep into I love Hoka's now. You know what Hoka's are?
No.
HOKA. I think they're like more centralized to like runners and people who are like more active and shit. But I have a few shoes that I've gotten that I think are more like lifestyle focused, and I love wearing them around now. They're super comfortable. I think they've done a good job with it. And I think if you give creators the creativity to be like, this is the kind of shoe that I want to give off. I want to make a shoe that people can go out on Saturday nights with and be like, yo, these are fly. You know what I mean? Like I think the variety of having all those, like you go onto one website and be like, oh, maybe I want the basketball shoe. Maybe I want this shoe.
So I think part of why I go basketball, obviously we're a sports media company, is what's the content if it's just a lifestyle show? That is part of the thought process of like, yes, you could get it on the biggest names in the world.
Well, that's why I think the creator chooses the path in which, or the creator chooses the type of shoe,
right?
And then the shoe that they choose is going to be based on their lifestyle, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like if you came to me and were like, "What kind of shoe do you want?" I wouldn't say basketball.
You could find a soccer creator,
right? Like
cleats with that.
I don't know if your company necessarily, like you're already pushing them out to be the ones that are marketing it, so they're going to be marketing on their platform. Like obviously, you can figure out ways to have like if the company name was Big Shoe, right? I don't know how big of a presence Big Shoe's content specifically would play in that company's role, as opposed to each individual creator who's making their shoe, because of the competition would be making the content on their own platform.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is, what is the content that you could create on a lifestyle shoe? As like basketball is very obvious. You do a pickup game against another creator and you're wearing.
Well, I'm saying if I'm making a shoe for a lifestyle, if I'm like, yo, I want to make a fly shoe to go out on Saturday night, like I'm going to make vlogs that when I'm out on Saturday night, I'm wearing the shoe and shit. You know what I mean? So it's like whatever shoe, however it fits your lifestyle, like that's the content you were making behind, or however you're trying to pitch it. You're like almost making commercials for yourself.
I've never had a really good lifestyle shoe, which is like become the theme of this conversation. People are, in love with their basketball shoes. They're famous. They're attached to the players' legacies. I wonder if people do feel that way about certain characteristics of a shoe or hat, whatever it might be.
But say that again?
Like, I don't know the connection between someone, like the connection between someone and the basketball shoes they wear is like a very real thing.
Oh, I mean, like,
but I'm trying to think, I don't know, is that the same for a lifestyle shoe or a flip flop or
boots? Like boots are some of like the most worn in, like you wear them shits like every single day in the winter. And like, I think you can get absolutely attached to those. I think a lot of shoes are pretty mid, and that's why they kind of like fall under the radar of like, I don't really care. It's just a fucking pair of shoes. But there are definitely people that fall in love with certain, which is why I think you'd bring out the best of creators, because creators like to live on the edge. You know what I mean? They like to be like the one that are pushing the boundaries forward, whether it's for fashion or content in general. So I think you'd get a lot of like kind of wacky but really cool types of sneakers or shoes or boots or whatever that come out of it. And I think like that would be cool to have the brand that has like, okay, we have basketball shoes for this content creator, but we also have boots for this guy who's like a fashion YouTuber that has like 2.5 million followers or whatever, you know?
They could probably move crazy product.
100.
I only know this because of my girlfriend. We Wore What, like, had a whole bikini line. Like, these are these fashion influencers, and they move product. And their normal step is, like, go to Macy's, do a collab, and then if they show they can do it, then they go create their entire own brand, and they're super successful. I mean, Spanx, right? That was kind of similar path. But, yeah, so that's my business idea.
I think we've got something there. If we have any investors, let's go.
Last thing. It's crazy because, once again, if I thought about taking this on by myself, right, the snapback sports shoe, like we could do it, but we're pushing to a very limited audience, and then we could expand it, whatever. But if I said we were bringing in 10 creators with millions of followers, everyone got 3, 4, 5% of the company. We pitched someone like, I think this is going to be worth, $500 million or $150 million in the next 6 months or a year. Do you think with 10 creators of, let's say, cumulative following 50 million, could move a million like product?
I don't know like the shoe industry and how like the numbers behind it.
No, but just in general, like, do you think that much audience all collabing on the same kind of concept could move a million pieces of anything?
Yes, I hope so.
Right.
Yeah.
And that would be like 100 million in revenue.
Yeah. So I think like what a cool idea would be is like get those 10 people together, get their 10 different shoes, which are probably fitted for all different types of lifestyles, and almost like Real World, like MTV Real World it, where it's like you film them for a week and like they have all these different activities planned. It's like, all right, we're about to go play basketball today. Tonight we're going out to dinner. We're going to wear his shoes. Tomorrow we're going out to like a bar. We're going to wear their shoes. Tomorrow we're going for a walk down the board. You know what I mean? Like, and you film all these different pieces of content that your company offers all these types of lifestyle shoes. Right. I think that would be kind of cool.
But I'm like, they could move a million pieces, and that's 100 million in revenue in year one. I think that,
we got some.
right? Like that's crazy.
I think like the I wonder how long does it take to make a shoe?
Well, that's another thing. I've kind of half-assed looked into it before, but the content behind it, flying over there, across the country or across the world
To make the shoe?
Yeah, to go to the factories to scope out the different tech and that. Like, there's so much.
That's what I think is the hardest part. It's like really nailing the launch, where it's like, okay, we've made a shoe that we're proud of that looks cool, and and like the audience will also look at that and be like,
that's the thing. At the end of the day, the product has to be good. But the reason I started thinking about, holistically why packaging creators together, like better with Jake Paul, like he's got the biggest audience, but it's like all him. Like at the end of the day, it is all him. Same with Mr. Beast. Like it's all him. Now, he's outgrown everyone, so he can do it. He's got 100 million people. But I just think that's going to be, people are going to start their own businesses by themselves, these creators. But it's tough. It's tough without support from others. And I think that's kind of the next evolution. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about businesses at scale, which is like another level of creators that like I'm not even close to really getting there.
Yeah.
That's almost like venture-backed funds. But I do think that's the future. I don't think in like 10 years from now, I don't think we're going to see a lot of super successful businesses that weren't started through an audience or someone who has like an audience of 1 million. If you already have the customer base there, like it makes no sense not to fucking shoot it out.
My original idea was raising a fund like from creators, where creators, right, they use Anchor or they use PopChew or whatever the company is. And it's like, all right, those creators should absolutely be invested in the tools they're using. And then I'm like, actually, those creators should just invest their own money in building that company. And if they all built it together, they'd probably be fairly successful.
Shit. What are we building, Jack?
This podcast.
Facts. All right.
We got the paid partnership of the week. It is dedicated to Zach King. You said you had never heard of Zach King before. I'm pretty shocked. He's got crazy following, but he smashed this TikTok he did.
All right, field's open.
Here we go.
Hey, where's your jersey? Just hold these. See what we can do.
What?
Whoa, nice.
Yeah. Here we go.
All right, let's line up for drills. Single file right here.
Kick to me.
Get the dog.
Partnership between Zach and Adidas/Juventus on their new jersey launch. He's great because his creation and him as a creator is just editing and all this animation and stuff. So he can kind of fit anywhere, right? Like he doesn't have to fit into, like he could do an Apple ad, he could do Juventus, he could do, a bookshelf ad. Like it just has to be cool.
So this got 74 million views. And when I watch this, my first thought goes to the production of this 22-second clip.
Yeah.
Probably took like an insane amount of time.
That's what he does though.
Yeah, because I remember so the promo we did for the Bash, the original one, that was like a 3.5 minute video, where it was for sure the most highly produced video we've ever done, right? It was like the best looking thing we've ever put out. My friend Noah came in here and shot the whole thing, but we prepped to shoot that for like a month. Seriously. It was a 3.5 minute video. We prepped to shoot it for a month. We shot it in like 9 different fucking locations. Each location took us like a few hours. Even if it was a 15-second clip, we were there. And you need to plan when you're doing these transitions where they go from like here into another 3D world and then the ball changes into this fucking thing, those transitions are so calculated. You're like, I need the angle of this fucking video to be here with the lighting, the same thing, and you need to swirl, and it's a crazy, crazy thing. So like, I look at these ads and I'm like, okay, there are 2 ways for, I guess, virality or success through videos, and it's through insane production like this that people like underrate, and they watch and they're like, wow. And it's like, yeah, that wow factor comes from the fucking 40 hours that he put into doing a 22-second video. Like there's no, it's not an accident. Or you can play to like the emotional side of people where it's like you're getting them to, cry or be really excited or be scared or be whatever it is. And I think those are like the 2 pieces of content that make something like really, really hit.
So how much do you think he got paid for that? I mean, more so, he's got, 70 million TikTok followers or something like that? It's one ad. He probably did Instagram, but let's just talk about TikTok. Probably not paid on a per view basis.
No,
right?
This is definitely a negotiation up front that say, hey, you're going to do this for us.
Yes.
I mean, there might have been stipulations that like if it doesn't get a certain number of views and it kind of like cuts down in half or something like that.
More so, he knows how good his content is. I would bake in like if it crosses 50 million, it's an extra $1 million or something like that.
Yeah, I would have said this is a great fucking ad.
And the one thing,
Do you know the number?
No, I don't. But the content is so good. Normally, when his content is so good and the ad's baked in, you don't really know even like what the ad is for. The animation of the jersey and highlighting that so specifically, I felt like was really strong. So you know like what the focus of
Yeah,
it was.
there was no miss on this fucking ad. Like everything here. Honestly, I would put this around $1 million probably, give or take maybe 200 grand.
And I think that that's massively underpriced,
I
right?
agree,
Like
yeah.
he has 76 million views on it. How much to run an engaged commercial? More importantly, what do the comment numbers look like? Does it say
5.5 8,000 comments.
Yeah, 8,000 comments.
8,000
So it's
comments,
engaged.
5.5 million hearts, 74 million plays, 12,000 shares.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, the numbers are
Absolutely.
crazy. Yeah, I would say like you just look at the raw numbers of it, and if a brand comes to you, they know that they're getting a deal with you because for them to put this production together is probably going to cost them, around that same price,
Right.
and they're not going to get the same level of engagement because people don't give a fuck about these big corporations, right?
Yeah.
They want to connect with these creators.
He could probably get paid to just create a commercial for them to run and not even post on his own social. I'm sure he does.
The other stipulation with this probably is like when we sign deals with most of our partners now, we're basically like, we're going to create organic content for you.
Right.
You guys can run paid ads behind that,
Right.
which is what some of the allures, like you were talking about some of the partnerships that you have now is also either is or should be on a consulting basis as well, because I mean, we're in the trenches. We like understand how these platforms work. So it's like, if they're trying to build a social team and they're outsourcing their marketing to us, like they should also be listening to us for direction. I'm sure like that kind of goes into the contract. I'm sure Adidas probably put an extra, I mean, their marketing budget's got to be fucking $1 billion. So it's like they probably put, if they paid him $750,000 to make this or 1.5 to make this, they're probably putting an extra 5 million behind it
Right.
on paid advertisements,
And it got 76 million views, and it cost him, I wonder what it cost him to actually make the video. Like, obviously he's got the equipment, he's probably got an entire edit team and all this stuff, but that's the beauty of if he had equity in a brand, he wouldn't have to promote the Adidas Juventus drop. He could promote his own thing. And so that's $1 million of value.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this is probably costing that much.
It's tough to say like what all the startup costs are.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
it,
like
but-
if you factor in like certain, like he's already paying his editing team, and he's probably paying a lot of people already.
Yeah.
But just like this again, I think was way more of a time investment
Right.
for him personally because he already had these cameras probably at his disposal and things like that. But I mean, all the equipment and stuff probably adds up. But realistically, probably not a super intense like upfront cost for
I
him.
agree. That's the beauty of short form content. All right, so we are doing a snake draft for if we are starting a media company today, what creators would we hire? You go first.
You want me to take the 101?
Yeah, take the 101.
I mean, I think the 101 is a layup here. It's Mr. Beast.
Okay. So you're going with Mr. Beast.
Do we want to do like explanations now, or just want to rip through it
I
quickly?
think let's do the draft and then we'll riff through it at the end. So,
Okay.
all right, you're going Mr. Beast. I am gonna go with my first pick. I'm going Donald Trump,
Okay.
and my second pick I will go with David Dobrik.
Interesting. Okay. With back-to-back picks, I will take Prez, Marcel, and I will take Andrew Tate.
Okay. So we're on the same wavelength here. All right, my next two picks, I'm gonna go I Show Speed. He's a streamer. I want some streaming action. Live content is huge right now. And then I'll go Logan Paul.
With the 402 to wrap up the draft, I'm going to keep it simple here and go Gary V.
Okay.
So we have Mr. Beast, Donald Trump, David Dobrik, Prez, Andrew Tate, Speed, Logan Paul, Gary V.
All right, so let's
break it down a little
Well,
bit.
first in the comment section, let's hear whose team won. My team or Nick's team, Jack or Nick. So you went with Mr. Beast 101. I actually don't know if there's an explanation needed. It's quite obvious he's the best.
Nah,
creator
I
in the
mean,
world.
he's the GOAT. He understands how to unlock every single platform. His whole life has been dedicated to understanding how to like reverse engineer building an audience.
Yeah. So I picked Trump with my first pick. And people might say that's not a real creator. You know,
You're racist?
No, I'm definitely not a racist. But Donald Trump is the most polarizing figure. I'm not a Trump fan, but from the perspective of driving attention, like his Twitter account was one of the most followed ever. Of course, it had to do with him being president, but you get that factored in too. So I think if I were starting a company and I was trying to just gain attention, I picked Trump. Number 2, David Dobrik. I just think
I was surprised by this one.
He's just got he's got the YouTube game down. He's a generally positive person. You know, between him and Trump, maybe those first 2 picks in the perspective of the company might not be great. But I'm more so framing it from who are the best content creators?
You weren't trying to put a podcast together between the guys that you hired.
No.
Yeah, David Dobrik, I feel like he's lost a bunch of steam over the last year or two, and I don't really know what he actually does anymore. I think the build up to what he became is insurmountable. I think he was one of the biggest players on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I question what he can do going forward.
That's fair.
That's my only thing. I took Prez at 202. I'm just a massive fan of what he's built over at Barstool, and I think he's hilarious. I think he's also polarizing. I think he's generally a good guy too. I think he's uncancelable as well. I think every time he touches a mic, it's just like electricity, and he just knows how to get it done. It's whether it's just street interviews, doing the pizza reviews, everything he does ends up being a big hit. And it's obviously extremely smart. Got the work ethic of a fucking stallion. He's been doing it for 18 years in a row. He's built it, knows what he's doing. So Prez, I think he's just one of the media Mount Rushmore guys right now. And then I went with Andrew Tate at 301. Similar to your Donald Trump, this guy understood how to hack it, whether it's he believes everything he's saying, right? He's not doing it.
Do you think he believes everything?
100%.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. He believes everything he's saying. He's from the other part of the world where a lot of what he's saying is maybe true, or at least the way he grew up was very, very true. If he wasn't banned on things, he would 2023 he'd probably be the biggest creator on planet Earth, I feel like. So Andrew Tate, yeah, easy pick for me there.
I went with I Show Speed. This is probably buying low on someone who's at the top. So general media hasn't really caught up to him because he's kind of siloed into this streamer, YouTube, TikTok gem. But he had a stadium of 100,000 plus people celebrating with him after he scored a goal, and my entire feed was around him. And I think that live content will be king in the future. Yes, if you can get a TikTok video to have 1 million views, that's amazing. If you can get a YouTube video to have 3 million views, that's amazing. But bringing people to one place live, the top creators today that do that are athletes. LeBron James brings people to sit down, and the NFL does it with some of their star athletes. But he is capable to have 60,000 concurrent viewers on his YouTube, and there's not many people who are able to bring a live audience of that scale. So I'm rolling with him. My last pick, Logan Paul, kind of just a veteran of the content creation game. He's calmed down a bit, and I think that's the actual opposite of the Trump pick and the Speed pick is those guys got to be polarizing. They got to be loud. It's very tough to capture audience and be not clickbaiting and not, going over the top with hot takes. And he's now found a place where he's pretty comfortable and just people respect him.
I'm interested to see, because Logan Paul is very clearly, I had Bryce Hall on my list as well as someone I was thinking about. And I feel like they've taken similar paths. Bryce Hall is still a bunch of years behind where they were young and erratic and doing a bunch of reckless things. And they've obviously been humbled by life and they've been more mature now. And they understand how a lot of this game works. So Logan Paul, to me, I feel like if he started at 0 today, I would question whether or not he'd be able to build it back up, because he's not polarizing when he started.
He's not. But I think he's so smart and he's seen so much that he would be able, because the Impulsive podcast, he did it with an audience, but he's never really did it needing these crazy takes, that obviously you pull the best content, but he hasn't needed to do these stunts or these pranks or, the old stuff he used to. But you make a very fair point.
Yeah. I wrapped it up with Gary Vee. I just thought this, he's multifaceted, he could run the paid ads for our business. I also have a bunch of chemistry here. Mr. You ever?
I have 4.
Mr. Beast, Prez, they've done stuff together. Andrew Tate's been on Prez's on BFFs. Gary Vee and Prez have done stuff. Gary Vee, Mr. Beast, they're all fucking boys here. So we have chemistry out the gate.
My 4 are definitely hanging out siloed. And one's in charge of YouTube vlogs, Trump's in charge of Twitter, Speed live streaming, and Logan's got the podcast.
You ever seen the clip of Perez talking about the first time he ever talked to Mr. Beast?
No.
It was so funny. It was when they were doing the Barstool Fund, like during COVID or whatever, and he tweeted out something like, tag people that you think would donate to the Barstool Fund, and everyone was like, Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, and Mr. Beast immediately like went into the comments, was like, I'll donate $250,000 like right now, just let me know where.
Yeah.
And they got on the phone, and Perez was like, the president never heard of Mr. Beast. He had no idea who he was. And he was like, you know, you really start off like you're cucked right away when you're on the phone with somebody and they call themselves Mr. Beast. And you have no choice but to listen to him. I'm going to send you the clip. It's like 2 minutes and he just keeps talking about Mr. Beast. And the way he says it is just like some of the
So
funny
who
shit.
else did you have on your list? I'll run through mine really
Fuck.
quickly.
I like deleted everyone else.
So I had Big Cat, so we went to a similar place.
I had Big
there.
Cat too.
I think he's just super talented. Ryan Trahan, you familiar with him? Similar vibe, like very chill YouTuber, just people like him. He's very like agreeable. I had KSI, they kind of run internationally, especially in Europe, in London. And then Charlie Puth. Puth? He's just like one of those where
Interesting.
we talk about, you know, none of these guys I don't think are like the most insanely talented people ever. They just work their ass off. He's fucking crazy. Do you see the thing he did with Fallon the other day? So his whole thing on TikTok is going on and using like, you know, using sounds and making beats out of them. Live on Fallon in under 3 minutes made like a sick beat. And it's just like, you don't find talent like that.
I was going to say sometimes like artists, I don't know if they're like one hit wonders or not, but sometimes it's very easy to separate like who the really talented artists when they do shit like that.
Yeah.
And your mind gets blown.
You're
and
just
you're like,
what the fuck?
yeah, when they get put under pressure and they're able to perform like that, it's a really crazy thing. I had Big Cat, I had Bryce Hall. I don't remember who else I had because as I was writing these ones, I started deleting my other ones. But yeah, I went to YouTube immediately because my mind went to people that connect with their audiences in a really deep way. Oh, Noel. Do you know who Noel Miller is?
I've heard the name.
So do you know who Cody Ko is?
Yeah.
Oh, so him and Cody Ko and Noel Miller are like best friends, and
Gotcha.
they do their podcast together, Tiny Meat Gang.
Okay,
That's like their
yeah,
company or
yeah.
whatever. I think Noel Miller is like one of, if not the funniest kids on the internet right now.
Yeah.
He does like stand up now, but he's just like very calm, but like hits you with the one-liners that are like, damn, like you're so smart. Like why are you so smart and funny like at the same fucking time in like a 5-minute video? So he's one of my favorite creators that I think could prosper no matter what the fuck he's doing. And when I think of building a connection with an audience, I think of the long type of video that sucks you in, and it's much easier to tell stories through something that's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, as opposed to these quick hitters that you actually, in order to like really fall in love with a TikTok creator, you need to probably watch like 100 of their fucking videos. Whereas opposed to YouTube, you can go on and be like, fuck, I fuck with this dude after one video. You know what I mean? Like you can tell that connection is real because it's almost like in a TikTok video, you're getting a facade of someone. It's like almost like when you start dating someone for the first few dates, you don't really know who they are. So you only see like the good side of them. So you're like, oh, this is awesome. Like I love this person. And then after, you know, you've been with Haley after like a year, 2 years, 3 years, like you know all their flaws and you're like, this is the other side of that coin. And I feel like there's a miniature version of that on social media where you get that through more the length of the YouTube videos.
For sure. All right, I think that's a great transition into Q&A because we have a question from Abram in the Discord. If you're watching on YouTube, link below, so hop in the Discord. Good chat in there. General chat, but we also do software questions and equipment too. So Abram said, do people who make content on YouTube have a better relationship with their audience as opposed to someone on TikTok since their content is longer?
I think, yeah, that was a great fucking segue. That's literally what I was talking about. I think it kind of depends on like what you would define a better relationship as, because I mean, I think nowadays you get more people go viral on TikTok and probably can go out into the street and get recognized like that in a second. But I guess it depends on like how you want to portray yourself and like how you want to be, what connection you want to have with your audience. Because you could, again, build up that facade and build up a platform of yourself. But I think one of the biggest mistakes that creators have in today's world is building themselves up to be like a caricature of themselves, because that will like kill you in the long run. Like if you're only this one thing and you put yourself in a box, like what if you don't want to be that person a year from now and that's like the only thing that you're good for? You put yourself in a really bad spot mentally. So if you're able to do that within like and some people are very good at doing stories on TikTok, and now they've expanded the platform to it being 3 minutes and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I do think if you're someone who does like 15, 20-second videos and you're only showing this like one side of yourself, I don't know if the relationship between your audience is better or worse, but I think for you on a personal level, it could put you in a hole.
My initial thought was yes, because it just feels like YouTubers have a more engaged audience. They've got a comment section that they've been engaging with. It also takes longer to go viral on YouTube, which probably plays into that. But then after thinking about it, it's more so what type of creator you choose to be, right? So if you're going to be a fantasy football creator on TikTok, well, if you post any other type of content, it's probably not going to perform. So no one gets a good view into your life. But I've only created short form content, and our fans like, 30 people come to us at stadiums and meet up with us. And they're like, I love your stuff. I've been following forever. But it's because I've shared personal experiences.
That's
because,
the key to it.
Right?
Yeah.
I haven't locked myself into just being a sports betting analyst for WNBA first half unders, right? Like, if that were the case, then yeah, people won't care about the other side of my life. So I would say no. It just depends what type of content creator you want to become.
Yeah, it's like the better relate. Like I think as outsiders, you look at content creators and it's like almost put on a pedestal. But if you're a content creator, like you hear the word relationship, and it should be no different than the relationships that you treat people that you know in real life with, right? Like your audience or your fans or whatever, they're fucking people too. So like treat them the same way that you would treat other people if you want to build a really solid relationship. So it's about varying your content to make sure that you're opening up to people and make sure that they're connecting to you on that level. But again, if you only show one side of you, then yes, the relationship, like if you meet a person in real life and you only show this one side of you, the relationship's not going to be that strong, you know? So there's no difference between people that you meet in real life and people that happen to follow your shit. You have to be the one to like consciously make the choice to open yourself up and diversify a little bit.
Yeah.
Donald Coletta in the big content Discord asked, buy, sell, or hold with the social media platforms. Buy if you believe it's a good platform to get on and to grow. Hold, room to grow, but would start other places. Sell, no reason to start on this platform. No room for growth. Starts with Twitter.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So we're going to go through the platforms. All right. Buy, hold, or sell Twitter. I would hold Twitter.
I'd hold Twitter too.
I think it's super valuable from a business perspective. Creators probably don't have a ton of success, and it's impossible to grow on that platform unless you're like a viral video type creator or a thread guy maybe.
Yeah, thread guys are booming right now. You could be a thread guy and for sure grow.
Yeah.
Out of the gate, it's probably really, really difficult. But like right now, if you started making threads like tomorrow and they were like well informed, you know who Dickie Bush is?
No.
Dickie Bush is a guy who basically like started the Twitter thread thing.
Gotcha.
And he taught people, he has like threads about making threads and shit like that. And he went like super viral. I actually met him in person like last summer, and he's really, really good at it. But there are definitely ways to grow if you have a well-established audience. But yeah, I would start other places. So I would hold Twitter. Also, Twitter's the best networking platform for sure. Like I probably met you through Twitter and met like basically everyone in the industry through Twitter. So Twitter's a hold for me. YouTube Shorts is for sure a buy.
The biggest buy in the world because YouTube is the buy. YouTube will surpass, and you've seen TikTok attempt to do it. YouTube will surpass SEO for a lot of things, right? It is the new SEO. So YouTube Shorts are like the easiest way to grow on YouTube right now. So that's like your smash buy. It's going to the moon. Crypto kids would suggest buying YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, Facebook. So initially I would say sell, but I listen to Gary Vee all the time, and he talks about how like Facebook stories or reels and then like Facebook pages and groups are like his best performing social platform anywhere. And I'm like, I'm not really willing to find out, but like I believe that you believe that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say, like sell, because I actually haven't gone in and done the work to know whether or not to do it. But if you're just a creator out there right now, you're like, I want to get into sports media, like I wouldn't suggest like start just posting shit on Facebook.
Unless you're creating content for the older gen. Like I literally haven't been on Facebook in 6 months. I don't even use it for birthdays anymore. Like I know
maybe like if you're a pickleball creator. You ever played pickleball?
On yesterday morning.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
why didn't you invite me?
I was in Los Angeles.
Why didn't you invite me?
Wait, we have a bid in right now to buy a pickleball team.
You and me?
No, not. I mean, maybe you could be involved, but
Imagine Jack inviting me to anything, anywhere, any bids.
I saw you on Sunday at the tailgate.
Yeah, because I showed up.
So, like, LeBron and Tom Brady just bought a team.
Yeah.
So we've always been. I mean, we had a bid in, and then they might have beaten us out for that bid. But
That was the team you lost, like them?
There were 5 spots up for sale. We got our bid in before the deadline.
Who's we?
Like me, Alex, and then we kind of have others involved if we receive the bid.
Okay.
You know, it's not a fully developed thing. And they said, like, get your bid in time before Labor Day. You'll hear by the end of the month. And then on like October, 4th, like Tom Brady is buying a pickleball team, right? Or LeBron first. LeBron's buying a pickleball team. And we're like, so do we not get the bid? Do they close the bids? Whatever. And then we keep following up and they're like, oh, you'll hear soon. And then it was like LeBron James got a team. And so now we're probably SOL, but yeah, so that's pickleball.
Well, I was thinking of pickleball because, like, I know it started, or the first time I heard about pickleball was my grandpa playing down in Florida. I'm pretty sure it started with, like, the older demographic first because it was a way for them to be athletic. So I don't even know what pickleball is, but I want to play it really, really bad.
Pickleball is amazing. And when people ask what is pickleball, I say the reason I like it
is it like a mixture of ping pong and tennis on a smaller court?
Pretty much.
That's like my 2 favorite sports, pretty much.
It's super fun. You can play for hours at a time. But I always joke, like, if I played my grandmother one-on-one in basketball, like, that's not fun for anyone. It's not competitive. I break her ankles, probably literally. But pickleball, like, we can be on the same court. I'm still better than her, thankfully. But, like, she can hang. And I think that's, like, fun. So it kind of closes the gap. But yes.
Next time, if you play in the city, let me know.
It is an older thing that maybe you go
See how
to
he
Facebook.
just ignores that?
The problem is,
anyways, like Facebook, don't get on fucking Facebook. Fuck you. Instagram Shorts. Wait, Instagram Shorts?
I think
Instagram Reels. Yeah, I would put them a notch below YouTube Shorts probably, but they're definitely a buy for me. If you could make a video that's a minute long, you could put it on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Shorts, and one of those will probably hit semi-well.
Well, that is funny because we post a lot of our short form content across, and it's interesting to see the different platforms. Like, some will flop on Instagram and some will hit on TikTok. But my hot take would be I would sell Instagram right now. I just don't think that the platform is what people are looking for, and they're kind of lost. They're trying to be copycats of TikTok. They're trying to, push influencer and creator down your throat. And it's like, I want a social platform that I can see my friends' stuff on. But it shocks me because I ask people all the time, like, do you watch Instagram Reels, like the reel function? Mm-hmm. Never.
Really?
I only watch feed. And I get a lot of that same feedback. So maybe it's a bad sell call, but I just don't like I watch TikTok like that. I don't watch Instagram.
I've actually found that I think the Reels targets me better than TikTok.
Really?
Like, I enjoy what I'm watching when I'm going through Instagram Reels more than I enjoy.
Interesting.
TikTok, I feel like it's just throwing me bullshit all the fucking time.
I love the bullshit.
No, yeah, like I love it. I feel like I feel grimy coming off TikTok. Like, you don't understand how intensely I feel about this. Like, I feel if I'm on TikTok for like an hour, by the time I put my phone down, I'm like, dude, what? Like, my brain just short circuited. Like, I feel stupider after
That's
fucking
fair. That's
more stupid. I can't even fucking speak English anymore. That's how I feel. But Instagram Reels, I think is a more polished, less like fucking maniac type behavior.
All right, I'll do some homework in between now and next episode.
Son of a bitch.
Reels.
And the last one was Be Real. So I think it's interesting from 2 perspectives. One, this is a auto sell because you can only have 500 people following you. So there's no actual growth on the platform.
I disagree with that. That doesn't mean that that's what it'll be like in the future.
Okay, that's fair. But yeah, I guess. But I feel like if you're just capped there for, like, if they do that in 6 months, you're just sitting there with 500 people on there. But TikTok opened up their version of Be Real.
The copycat stuff, sometimes it works, but we've also seen a lot of it get squashed. I think that could also be, because there can only be 500 people, you could learn what it's like to have true fans. You could learn what it's like to foster an audience early. I would actually buy Be Real. The only part of Be Real that I'm going to sell would be the fact that eventually they're going to have to monetize and make money. And then that platform's going to get mucky. How do you make it organic? Yes, I could post at the Puma house and, it's one side me wearing Puma gear and one side the other. But I don't know. Some of the times when the platforms are early and you could also grow off platform, right? Like if you capture a crazy Be Real moment, I've seen it posted on Instagram and Twitter too. So it actually helps your other socials grow. So that's my take on Be Real.
Okay. You know what? I'll give you the dub on that one. I was too short-sighted on that. It just like pissed me off because when we...
Are you on Be Real?
So when we first blew up on TikTok,
Yeah.
everyone, I just saw like Be Real start blowing up. So I was like, oh, that's definitely a platform we should get on. My little cousins were talking about it. Like, it's my favorite platform right now. We got on it. We basically posted our Be Real account. And then within one day, we got the 500 people from it.
And you're capped.
And then we were capped. And I was like, why can't we, like, I was trying to accept like one of my friends onto it. And I was like, I can't do that without deleting somebody else. I was like, this is not like a good user interface for it. That kind of pissed me off. And I was like, if we're not going to be able to, if we had 600,000 people on TikTok following us and they all want to follow us on Be Real, it's like, they can't. Right. Like, why are you capping me at this? So that, you know, just initially,
but if they opened it up, you would be on the platform.
Probably,
right.
Yeah, which is not good behavior.
And I think
by me.
what I think is a really good example of this is like talking about, you know, making people care about you as a creator. Be Real could really do that. Like showcasing us shooting this, us filming Ike's lunch. Like people love behind the scenes. Have you ever seen people post on TikTok like the final edit and the behind the scenes? The behind the scenes outperforms the final edit like 9
people
times
love
out of 10.
that shit.
That's what Be Real is.
Bars.
Our last question, and I think the one we are most excited for, comes from my boy Vince on Snapchat. Follow me on Snapchat at Jack Settleman. Thank you. He said, I've been listening. Don't see myself in the limelight, though. I'm a pretty technical guy. Could see myself working with brands in the creator economy, building out a team and supporting creators. And then he added this on after I actually responded, saying specifically as a lawyer, right? Maybe he's in law school or headed in that direction. So the idea of becoming part of the creator economy, making a living off of this, but not actually being the creator.
Okay. My mind went a few different places based on how this question went because he ended it specifically as a lawyer,
Right.
Which sucks because when I saw that, I was like, that's easy. Make content creator specific content. Like make content specific to content creators about things they might run into with the law. Yeah. But he's like, I don't want to create content for it. The beginning part of the question though, like I don't want to be in the limelight. Like I want to be a part of the creator economy because I believe that it's going to blow up. That's I don't want to say that's easy, but if you can figure out a really technical, you said you're a technical guy. So whether that's video editing, if that's coding, like we are not tech people. I don't know how to build a website. Like I can be resourceful enough to figure out, but if you're someone who learns how to build websites, if you're someone who knows how to, you know, make thumbnails, if you're
video edit,
like do anything technical, we could always use those people around us. So I think that's easy. Like you do those things and then do it for people for free. Like, I mean, it's kind of the theme that we've been talking about for the last, 5 weeks in a row now is show people your work and they will eventually find you irreplaceable if your work is good enough. Specifically as a lawyer, that complicates things a little bit for me because he wants to go away from making content. I look at I've been saying this for fucking years. In the fantasy industry, there is a place for someone to be the doctors that people are going to. And we have that now, right? We have the Dr. Jesse Morris. We have all these dudes that start to work for all these brands are bringing on like doctors specifically for their fantasy football media companies. And they're no better than normal doctors. They just branded themselves as specific to fantasy football.
Well, that's why I thought the lawyer question was actually quite
right. But
easy.
the way they got found was through content they made. It's like if you start making content about like, okay, you make a piece of you make a TikTok content, be like, I'm a lawyer. If you're a content creator about to work with a brand, here are 3 things you got to look out for in the contract you're about to sign with them.
It is a good way to find clients, but I think a similar good way would be tracking down my email and your email and sending an email that said subject line, content creator lawyer. And the first line is like, hey, Jack, I review a bunch of content creator brand deals, partnerships, all this stuff. Like, I would love to, if you ever have any questions, send it through. I send 3 deals through because we struggle with this. The lawyer I pay, he isn't content creator specific. He's awesome. He's also fucking expensive. Yeah. And so if you could almost find like 8 freelance, clients, which is just like 8 different creators.
But then you're like kind of depending on timing to happen. Like if you send me that email, like I needed to have happened to have a contract come across my desk at that point to be like, hey, can you look at this? Like if that didn't happen and maybe it's different because you're working with agencies, so you probably have a lot of contracts coming through like, different angles all the time and shit like that. For me specifically, as if you're talking about working with an individual content creator, but again, it depends on like if you rather work with an agency in the content creation world, like that would work for you for sure. Yeah, my mind first goes to like if you want to be known as like a lawyer for the specific thing, go tell people, go show people that you could be that guy.
And being in the limelight, right? Like you could write blogs, you could write Twitter threads, you could pay someone you could script it out and then pay someone to create the content. Like there's a lot of ways that you don't actually have to be in the limelight. But
yeah, you could. This is definitely a direction that you can be like super successful in because the creator economy is relatively really new,
Yes.
and there hasn't been a lot of people like niching down on specific roles within the creator economy. Like we have creators, of course, but you don't see lawyers, you don't see these people that are like, I do this for these people.
Right.
The more
I
specific
build
you can get,
creators' websites. I
Right.
build creators' merch shops.
just doing that is really specific. You can be like, oh yeah, I build websites. It's like, okay, cool. But like if you get specific with it, I could look at like, oh, you built this for this creator. These are things that I want for mine. Like the more detailed you can get with what you're actually doing, the better off you're going to be.
Yep.
Make content. All right. That's this week of big content. Go join the Discord. Go follow us on, go subscribe on YouTube, subscribe via the podcast. And I think that's the only way you can find us. Big Edit. We love you.